Hello students, today we'll be learning some more theorems in connected spaces. Let X be a locally connected space. If Y is an open subspace in X, then each component of Y is open. Now I believe you remember the definition of locally connected space. A topological space X is said to be locally connected if for each point X belonging to a neighborhood G contains a connected neighborhood of X. If G contains a connected neighborhood of X, whenever G is a neighborhood of X, capital X is said to be a locally connected space, right? For the theorem, we need a locally connected space, an open subspace of a locally connected space, and a component in the open subspace. Let C be a component of Y, which is the open subspace of X. Now I will consider an element from C. X is an element of C. C is a subset of Y. Y is a subset of X. We know that Y is open set in X. Right? Now we had learnt in topological spaces that an open set is neighborhood of each of its points. Right? Now since X is a locally connected space, Y is neighborhood of X, Y contains a connected neighborhood of X. I'll call this connected neighborhood of X as G. Also we had proved that if X is a topological space, Y and Z are subsets of X such that Y is a subset of Z, then topology of Y as a subspace of X is same as the topology of Y as a subspace of Z. Right? We had proved this in a problem. Here we use it for G, which is a subset of Y, and Y is a subset of X. So the topology on G as a subset of X is same as the topology of G as a subspace of Y. Fine. Basically, G was a neighborhood of X. That is, there exists an open set in X such that X belongs to this open set and it is a subset of G. Right? Now this implies X belongs to U and X belongs to G. Initially, we had X taken from the component C. Now we have obtained X belongs to G. Therefore, I write G is a subset of C. Now this statement can also be justified as, now G was a connected neighborhood of X. That is, it is a connected space, right? This implies G is a connected space. Now each connected space, subspace, is contained in a component. So I can write G is a subset of C, right? That is, we have got the element X from a connected neighborhood G, and this is a subset of C. Now this is a definition of open set. Now here open set is C. That is, we have got that each component of a open subspace is open. Right? Till now we proved for an open subspace of a locally connected space, right? Now before this X becomes a locally connected space, basically it is a topological space, that is X is both open and closed, right? Now since X is both open and closed, now I can say in some circumstances that X is an open set. Now X is a subspace of itself, right? That is why we write X in tau also. So X is an open subspace of X itself, right? So the theorem holds for X also, that is each component of the open subspace X of X is open. Hence we have proved the theorem. The next definition is arc. Now what is an arc? An arc is a curve or a line from one point to another in a space that does not have any breaks in it, right? Now can I write this arc in terms of a function? Yes. Now how is that defined? Now arc can be represented, this arc can be represented as a function f which is continuous, right? If it is continuous, then there is no breaks. Now from where to where is this arc defined? Now I say an arc is a continuous mapping f from 0, 1 to x, where f of 0 is called initial point and f of 1 is called the terminal point of the arc. Now according to the circumstance, we will define the function f. Fine. Now f of 0 is the initial point and f of 1 is the final point. Here, if this is the direction of the arc, this is the f of 0 is x and that is the initial point, and f of 1 is y, that is the final point. Fine. In a topological space x comma tau, if for each point p and q belonging to x there is an arc, that is there is a function f from the closed interval 0, 1 to x such that f of 0 is p and f of 1 is q, then x is said to be arc-wise connected. That is, imagine this is the space x and I have points p, q, r, x and y. Only these are the points in x. Suppose, fine, if there is an arc like this from each point to, from one point to each another point like this, some arc like this, I don't know if I have covered everything or not, but something like this for every point. If each two points are connected by an arc like this, then the space x is said to be arc-wise connected. Fine. The next theorem in arc-wise connected space is continuous image of an arc-wise connected space is also arc-wise connected. That is, I need to take a space which is arc-wise connected, say that is x, and I need to have a topological space y and a function f from x to y which is continuous. We need to check if f of x is arc-wise connected or not. Consider 2 points, say P and Q from Y. So if P and Q belongs to Y, then F inverse of P and F inverse of Q belongs to X, right? Now, since X is arcwise connected, for each 2 points of X there is an arc, right? So I define that arc as a function g from closed interval 0, 1 to X, which is continuous. Now remember, g is always continuous, such that from the definition we have g of 0 equal to f inverse of p and g of 1 equal to f inverse of q. Now apply f. F of g of 0 is equal to f of f inverse of p, and f of g of 1 is f of f inverse of q. That is, we have got f composition g of 0 as p and f composition g of 1 as q. Also, we can observe that we know that f is from x to y, g is from 0, 1 to x, then f composition g is a function from 0, 1 to y. Now, f and g are both continuous, therefore their composition is also continuous, right? We have got f o g as a continuous function from the closed interval 0, 1 to y, such that for each p and q belonging to y, f o g of 0 is p and f o g of 1 is q. That is, we have got an arc for each p and q belonging to y, right? Hence, we may conclude that y is arcwise connected. Sorry, not y. F of x is arcwise connected. Next, we shall check if each arcwise connected space is connected or not. That is, first we have to consider a space X which is arcwise connected, right? That if X is arcwise connected, then for each point, for each pair of point X and Y belonging to X, there exists an arc in X. Now what is an arc? Arc is a continuous function f from the closed interval 0, 1 to X, such that f of 0 equal to X and f of 1 equal to Y, right? So we have a continuous function from the closed interval 0, 1 to X. Now, in the beginning of this chapter, we had discussed the connectedness of real numbers, right? If X is a subset of the set of real numbers, then X is connected if and only if it is an interval, right? So we have an interval 0, 1 which is a subset of R. Therefore, we have this as a connected subspace of R. That is, this interval 0, 1 is connected space, right? Now, f is a continuous function from 0, 1 to x. So, we have x as the continuous image of f, right? It is a continuous image of f. Now, for this also we had proved continuous image of a connected space is connected. Continuous image of a connected space is always connected. That is, we have obtained X as a connected space, right? In the first chapter, we had learnt that 0, 1 is uncountable, right? We had proved it, and we showed that 0, 1 is equipotent to R, right? Now that was in terms of number of elements in the set. Here we have to show that R is topologically equivalent, that is the surface of the open interval 0, 1 and R are almost same, or it can be interconverted. So we have to show that R is topologically equivalent to open interval 0, 1. So how do we show that? We had learnt a concept called homeomorphism, right? What was homeomorphism? Homeomorphism was a function f from a space x to another space y such that f is 1, 1 onto f is both continuous and open map, right? Also we had discussed that if f is open map, then f inverse is a continuous map. That is, homeomorphism is a function which is 1, 1 onto f is continuous, f inverse is also continuous, right? So if there exists a function f from open interval 0, 1 to R which satisfies all these four properties, then we can say that 0, 1 is topologically equivalent to R. Fine. So I will define a function f from open interval 0, 1 to R, or rather I will define a function f from R to 0, 1 by f of x equal to e power x by 1 plus e power x. Check if this value belongs to open interval 0, 1 or not. To show that f is 1, 1, let x1 and x2 belong to R such that f of x1 equal to f of x2. So we have to show that x1 is equal to x2. So if f of x1 equal to f of x2, then from the definition of f we have e power x1 by 1 plus e power x1 equal to e power x2 by 1 plus e to the power of x2. Ex1, now I will cross multiply and solve this, right? Now multiply this inside. E power x1 plus e power x1 into e power x2 is equal to e power x2 plus e power x2 e power x1. Now are these two same values? Well, I'll cancel out each other. So I get e power x1 is equal to e power x2. Now apply ln. This implies x1 is equal to x2. That is, we have proved that f is 1, 1, right? For on to, I have to consider an element y from the open interval 0, 1, right? Now f of ln of y by 1 minus y is equal to e to the power of ln y by 1 minus y divided by 1 plus e power ln y by 1 minus y. I will write x equal to ln of y by 1 minus y. So I have got f of x equal to y by 1 minus y divided by 1 plus y by 1 minus y. So I've got f of x equal to y by 1 minus y plus y, that is f of x equal to y. Clearly x belongs to R, right? Check if this is right or wrong. So I've got f of x equal to y for y belonging to open interval 0, 1. That is, I've gone from the codomain to the domain. Therefore, f is onto. Now, from the definition of f, we have f of x as e power x by 1 plus e power x. So that is f of x. F is a function of exponential, right? Now, exponential values are always continuous. Hence, I obtained f as continuous function, right? I can write it directly, right? So, next, for the inverse function, I write f of x equal to y. What is the value of f of x? E power x by 1 plus e power x equal to y. I have to find out the value for x. X is equal to f inverse of y, right? Now I have to find the value for x to find the inverse function. So multiply this here. E power x is equal to y into 1 plus e power x. E power x equal to y plus y e power x. Take this side. E power x minus y e power x equal to y. So I obtain e power x into 1 minus y equal to y. E power x equal to y by 1 minus y. Apply ln. Therefore, I get ln of e power x equal to ln of y by 1 minus y. That is x equal to ln of y by 1 minus y. What was x? It is f inverse of y is equal to ln of y by 1 minus y. F inverse is a function of logarithm. Now logarithm is also continuous. Therefore, we obtain f inverse as continuous function. Hence, we got f is 1, 1 onto f is continuous. F inverse is also continuous. Therefore, f is a homeomorphism. F is a homeomorphism from open interval 0, 1 to R. Therefore, we obtain 0, 1. Open interval 0, 1 is topologically equivalent to R. Right? Did you understand how to solve this problem? The next topic is convex set. Now here we'll discuss only for the set of real numbers. Now for any two elements from R and T, a point in the closed interval. Now we define a set C as the convex set for R if 1 minus t into x plus t into y belongs to C whenever x and y belongs to C. Fine. Now we'll check if this convex set is arcwise connected or not. That is, we'll check if this is an arc or not. For each element x, y belonging to C, I will define a function f from closed interval 0, 1 to C as or by f of t is equal to x into 1 minus t plus t into y. Now where t belongs to closed interval 0, 1. Now for arcwise connected, we wanted f of 0 equal to x and f of 1 equal to y, right? So check what is f of 0. F of 0 is equal to x into 1 minus 0 plus 0 into y. That is, we have got x. That is, x is the initial point and f of 1 is x into 1 minus 1 plus 1 into y. That is, we have got f of 1, the terminal point, as y. That is, for each element x comma y belonging to C, we have got a function f from closed interval 0 comma 1 to C, such that f of 0 is x and f of 1 is y. Right? Next, we have to check if f is continuous or not. Right? Then we'll get the proof. Now, what is f here? F is a function from 0 comma 1 to C. F of t is equal to x into 1 minus t and t into y. Right? Suppose A is a subset of C and B is a subset of C, which are closed. And I'll also assume that x belongs to A and y belongs to B. That is, we have got f of 0 belongs to A and f of 1 belongs to B. Right? 0 belongs to f inverse of A and 1 belongs to f inverse of B. Therefore, f inverse of A and f inverse of B are non-empty. Now we have to prove that f inverse of A and f inverse of B are closed. Right? This will show that f is continuous. So how do we prove? Consider f inverse of A whole closure. Now this can be written as f inverse of A closure. Right? Now what is A closure? Since A is closed set, A closure equal to A. That is, we have got f inverse of A. Now it's your duty to check if f inverse of A whole closure is equal to f inverse of A closure. I think we have proved this. Check for it. Similarly, for f inverse of B whole closure, we have f inverse of B closure, that is equal to f inverse of B. That is, f inverse of A and f inverse of B are closed sets. Right? That is, whenever A and B are closed in C, we have got f inverse of A and f inverse of B closed in 0 comma 1. This implies f is continuous. That is, we have obtained an arc f from 0 comma 1 to C for each element x and y belonging to C. Hence, the convex set C is arc-wise connected. Right? Let x be a point in f inverse of A closure. That is, f of x belongs to A closure. From the definition of closure, A closure is equal to A union L of A. So we have got f of x belongs to A union L of A. Hence, x belongs to f inverse of A union L of A. Right? Now I can split this. Now x belongs to f inverse of A union x belongs to f inverse of L of A. Now this can be reduced to L of f inverse of A. Hence, we obtain x belongs to f inverse of A union L of f inverse of A. That is, this is the definition for f inverse of A whole closure. Therefore, x belongs to f inverse of A whole closure. Hence, now this procedure can be done from downwards also. That is, I can use if and only if condition for every statement here. Right? So I get f inverse of A whole closure equal to f inverse of A closure. Now, did you understand this? Fine, you have to make a running notes for all of this. And now I wrote here f inverse of L of A is L of f inverse of A. Now how is it done? Let x be an element of f inverse of L of A. That is, we get f of x is an element of L of A. That is, f of x is a limit point of A. what is limit point? For each neighborhood G of f of x, G intersection A minus f of x is not equal to null. That is, each neighborhood intersects at least some point of A other than x, right? So I'll apply F inverse. I get F inverse of G intersection F inverse of A minus the element x is not equal to null set. Here I've got that F inverse of G is a neighborhood of x, and it contains at least one point of F inverse of A other than x. So x is a limit point of F inverse of A. Now I can go backwards also. So I'll obtain F inverse of L of A is equal to L of F inverse of A. Your duty is to make notes for all of this, right? Now this is an example of arcwise connected space. This space X, which is equal to x comma sine of 1 by x union 0 comma any element y, is called topologist's sine curve. Now it goes something like this. This is not the exact drawing. You can check in Google. Type topologist's sine curve, you will find it. Now this space is not a arcwise connected space, and this space is not arcwise connected space. If you see the exact diagram of it, you will get a idea, because here it is something like this. All the curves are very near to each other and you can't find exact arc for if a point lies in the starting points and in the ending points, you cannot find an exact arc. Therefore this space is not an arcwise connected space. Fine. I hope you have understood this, all of this. Thank you.